All right, welcome to Full Metal Mouse. I'm apparently your solo host, Adam.
Sorry, I was not aware we were starting.
Well, I literally said like we were gonna.
But you didn't say I'm pressing start.
You heard the.
Anyway,
it makes a sound. It goes beep beep beep.
It's great. I'm Fletch. Happy to be here.
Welcome to Full Metal Mouse. I wanted to try something different this time. We're gonna start talking a little more about ourselves, but you're leaving town. You're leaving New Orleans to go to Austin this weekend.
I am.
So you're going to be with a friend of ours, artist Preston Azevedo, Asevedo.
Artist extraordinaire.
You should check him out. He does live painting. He does his own comic. He's a really cool guy. Sometimes he says off-color things that would be perfectly at home on Full Metal Mouse.
If he was 5, it'd be adorable, but he's a grown man.
Yeah. He's still kind of adorable. But, you'll be in Austin, Texas, slinging comics.
Slinging wares for Mr. Preston.
Possibly slinging other things. No, wait, you're married. Yeah. So, no slinging for you. Anyway, does your wife watch this?
I hope not.
Okay, I might have to cut that out. No. She knows. She knows you don't sling things. Anyway, so we got some stories that we want to go through.
What you got?
So first of all, now, we all know that Marvel on the East Coast is pretty limited as far as Disney's abilities. They do have some characters like Guardians of the Galaxy they're able to use.
Right.
Big Hero 6, obviously, they're able to use, but largely because...
Kind of.
Is there a restriction on them?
I don't know. I mean, I guess they'd have to be like Disney Big Hero 6. They couldn't use like...
They definitely... Well, I would... If Guardians isn't in the contract, Big Hero 6 isn't.
Okay.
But in any case... And actually, I think Big Hero 6 was created after the contract. I think it was like around... No, wait. Would have been like 98. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they're only able to use certain characters. However, Disney obviously really wants to get Marvel more involved in their East Coast parks because Disneyland's great.
Marvel's great.
But yeah, Walt Disney World is where it's at. That's what everybody loves. That's what everybody wants. So... Doctor Strange, first of all, no one's ever seen this contract except for the people involved.
Right.
So whenever we all talk about it, like what's in the contract, it's largely speculation. We do have something confirmed, but we don't know everything. But we don't know if Doctor Strange is one of the characters that's not allowed to be in the parks. I'd be willing to bet that he is not. On the other hand, Disney is going to have a... it's not a screening, but like a preview screening over in One Man's Dream in Hollywood Studios prior to the movie coming out. I forget what the exact date is, but you should be on the lookout for that because Doctor Strange comes out in November, correct?
I thought it was the end of October.
I think it's November.
Okay.
But either way, so...
That's what they should do with the Great Movie Ride. Use it to premiere movies.
I think there's rumors about that, like they're like in a couple of years... because their contract with MGM is gone. Supposedly they're going to revamp it to make it more Disney, which I'm fine with. Great Movie Ride is one of those things that it's really there because it's hot outside. It's not a good ride. I mean, it's interesting the first time you do it,
right?
But it's totally a one-term ride. And I know it has its fans, but I really don't even like it as the icon for Hollywood Studios. I personally miss the Giant Sorcerer's Hat.
Me too.
So yeah, One Man's Dream. There would be like a little preview screening of Doctor Strange. So that should be cool. Up next, you've used the Magic Bands, right?
Yeah.
When you went on your honeymoon.
We used them the last 2 times we went.
The rumor is that the Disney's going to be kind of changing them up. They're going to be evolving. I think they're going to be a little more compartmentalized, so where you can kind of switch things out.
That is very smart.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Magic Bands. I know people hate them. Some people do.
Who hates them?
There's a lot of complaints online.
They're great.
I agree. I think it's very, very useful. You don't have to carry around that card. You can reuse the armbands. The only thing I don't like about them is that sometimes you get buried in them. Like if you go on multiple trips in a year, or you switch
can use
hotels.
the same one.
Yeah, but they'll sometimes have one waiting for you. And I actually, when Josh got married, I switched hotels from All-Star over to the Boardwalk, and both of those actually had an armband for me. And I just said, a wristband. I said, sweetheart, I don't need it. I have 3 at home. Thank you, but
The battery life could be better. Is one complaint.
Well,
it's only good for
that's
like 2
one of the
years.
reasons. That's one of the reasons that they're gonna switch him up so that you can.
That was a joke.
But that is actually one of the complaints, though.
They last like 2 years.
I don't disagree with you, but I guess maybe if you're an annual pass holder, you're gonna go a lot more. It's gonna get run through.
They'll give you another one. It's free. I'm sorry. Moving on.
It'll be cheaper, but I like that. I like that you'll have more unique designs when you can switch them out. I'm not a big fan of the little like tags that you can put in, like the footprints. And all that.
I don't like that.
It's gaudy, but so I'm really excited.
They sell some third-party ones that's more like a decal that goes around it that are pretty cool.
I've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about those is if it's one of them that you're going to eventually get rid of, you're just going to have it sitting there.
Right.
But I don't think those are that expensive either, though. So, a bit of news that you're unhappy about.
Yeah, I might be in the minority here, but...
You're, I don't think we've ever discussed it here, but you're a big Stitch fan.
I'm sure we've discussed it.
He's a big Stitch fan.
Pretty big Stitch fan, yeah.
So, Disney has announced for sure that Stitch is going to be, they're calling it seasonal. This is, of course, Stitch's Great Escape over in Tomorrowland.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they say seasonal, I think October 2nd is going to be the last day that it's running normally. There's going to be a period in November of 3 weeks where it's going to run. Then it's going to go on hiatus again, and then I think it's the end of December.
So
it'll run again for another 3 weeks.
Basically, I won't get to ride it again.
Well, we don't know if it's going to keep doing this.
Right.
I think it's only been around like 12 years or something like that.
It seems weird for something right there that did close it down, though. I mean, it can't take that much to...
Well, the deal is that you are in the minority on this. I don't hate Stitch's Great Escape.
I don't think the ride's great. It's not great, but if you're a fan of that theme, you know, the walking in and everything, it could use a fresh coat of paint.
People were really pissed when what it was, extraterrestrial
right.
alien, yeah. People loved that. Alien Encounter was really cool. It was very, very interesting. The thing is, it's not really a different attraction. It's just tonally different. The last attraction had, what was his name? Tim, the guy who did the voice of the alien when you first walk in, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry was the voice actor. I couldn't think of his name. I could picture his face. Mostly I was picturing him in the garters, which I don't even want to get into. But last voice was Tim Curry, who's, of course, super creepy, both in real life and as a voice actor. And now it's Richard Kind, who I love, but aside from his turn as the imaginary character in Inside Out, Mr. Bibbles, I forget a lot of things. I think I might be having Alzheimer's. I'm not sure. Anyway, aside from that, he's largely comedic.
Right.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
He died. It was sad. Anyway, so and then the ride itself, because it's Stitch, you know, obviously the Stitch animatronic isn't very realistic looking. He's very animated looking.
Right.
The whole attraction went from being actually pretty creepy and scary to just being kind of weird, almost funny. But again, I don't mind it. Like, I'll go ride it every once in a while.
The chili dog belch, man, it's fantastic.
But other than that, it's almost the definition of an overlay.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the beats are the same. The crew that's above you. But people don't like it. People want Alien Encounter back, and obviously that's not going to happen. So you want to tell people what? Probably, it's still a rumor, but probably is.
I don't know how they're going to do that, but the rumor is that it's going to be a Wreck-It Ralph themed attraction.
Further rumors is that it's actually going to be one of Disney's first VR attractions,
which could be pretty cool.
Could be. I don't know if it's going to be like helmets dropping from the sky. But
now the little themed area over in like the animation sector where you could go meet Vanellope and Ralph and everything. Have you been over there?
no.
Like when you go meet the characters, you can kind of go in and they have Frozone and Mr. Incredible. Then they have.
I've seen pictures of you and that. I've never done it.
Right. You know, pictures of me and Mr. Incredible. Jelly. Anyway, so that they have kind of a themed area, like where you're walking through the video games, like in the movie, and it's all done pretty cool. So if they kind of like take that over to the new stuff, it could be really cool. I mean, I'm a big Stitch fan. I would like to see Stitch have a presence, but again, I could just be in the minority on that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Disney recognized they needed Stitch to be somewhere in the parks.
Yeah.
But rather than coming up with a unique attraction, I think they just kind of half-assed it and went, he's an alien.
Right.
Let's just put him in Alien Encounter. And
Yeah,
I think Disney sort of also underestimated how popular Alien Encounter was as well.
It really didn't fit in that area, though.
It doesn't fit in Magic Kingdom. I think it fits in that area better than it would fit anywhere else except maybe Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios would be fine for that.
So, and actually, no, they can't add any more construction to Hollywood Studios at the moment.
But basically, they have to tear that whole thing out and redo something else. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, well, the seating might stay the same.
Okay.
I mean, the circular would work fine with, like, dropping down helmets and stuff like that.
But if it's VR, I mean, you can't really move around too much when you're strapped into a seat.
That's true, too. I don't know. Like, all this is technically a rumor at the moment.
We don't
but
know. And
we're pretty sure Stitch's Great Escape has seen its last days.
very rarely do they do stuff that I don't like. So even though the Stitch ride is going away, it's a little dated, and we could use something newer.
Right.
I'll be sad. I'll be running around dressed like Stitch for Halloween if you're out there.
So, next story. So, there's been a bit of a uproar from certain groups of people because they're moving some of the smoking areas in EPCOT. I'm not a smoker, and I get that, but I'm personally of the opinion that I don't think you even need smoking in the parks, quite frankly. I think, yeah, I get it. You're a smoker and you like to smoke.
That's a choice you made.
Right, and also if you can't wait, say, at most, 10 hours to get a cigarette, you need to look into some help. Because, like, I'm an overweight person, but if I told you I couldn't wait 10 hours to get a cheeseburger, you'd be locking me up. You know, like, I've actually gone 3 months without a cheeseburger. Oh, no, that's not true. I had one the other day. Really? Anyway, I gave up. Anyway, but now I understand, like, if we were talking about no smoking in the hotels, which, I mean, you can't smoke in the hotel room, but no smoking areas in the hotel.
There's places to smoke. If you choose to smoke, go smoke there. Sorry.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a silly thing to be upset about. Like, I'm all for people being able to do whatever they want. If you want to smoke, that's fine. But if you're in a theme park, I don't want you blowing smoke anywhere near me.
Right. You don't get to put that on someone else.
They're pretty expensive these days, and supposedly, I think this is still a rumor. The annual pass holders will actually get another price bump in less than a year, which would suck because they're pretty damn expensive. So I edited the end of the show because there was a topic of discussion which I don't think it was inappropriate. It was actually discussing the Joss Whedon / Avengers video that was essentially a political ad. Not essentially, it was propaganda, and it wasn't like saying don't vote for this person, don't vote for this person. The video was, but I wasn't. I was actually just commenting on how inappropriate I think it is to make a video that essentially presents the Avengers in a propaganda video. And it went on at length. I kind of rambled a little bit, and I know Fletch really wasn't interested in talking about it. Not that he doesn't have an opinion on it, but I don't know. He just felt like this wasn't necessarily the place to do it. And I ended up talking about it on the Metal Hand of God podcast, MHOG. Yeah. Which you should check out. It is the most unapologetically anti-PC show on the web. But I decided to just cut it out in the long run. I just felt like it's, again, not inappropriate, but maybe a little too self-righteous. I don't know. Anyway, I think that the Avengers movies, the comics, Disney, that should be for everyone, not people who lean one way or the other. Don't need politics in any branch of it. But moving on, and again, if you really want to hear my thoughts on it, you can listen to one of the more recent episodes of the MHOG podcast. I really want to transition this show a little bit. I talked about when I first started about wanting it to be more like the Metal Hand of God. And at first I thought, well, this wasn't my exact thoughts, but essentially I was like, well, we'll curse more, we'll make more dirty jokes, which is something that we do on the Metal Hand of God. But what I realized is that what I really needed it to be was less of a typical theme park show. The thing is, I don't listen to a lot of those shows because they suck. The hosts, whether it be a podcast or, I haven't seen too many of the YouTube shows, but I'll just discuss the podcast. The hosts of the podcasts are largely incredibly boring people who are just reading news reports. It would be like watching the evening news if the anchors were unattractive and couldn't read well. And I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm just saying those shows are largely just very boring. And the reason is that you're just listening to somebody discuss something that or explain something to you that you could find on the internet, like for yourself. Now, it's easier if you do have it on a podcast where it's just delivered to you. And I do listen to some. I've often mentioned the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast that I listen to, as well as This After Dark. And I like those shows because of the people largely, it's good to hear what they're saying and all that and their opinions and what have you, but I like the people, and I feel like this show needs to be not like them by any standard. In fact, I think maybe sometimes I'm a little too much of a fanboy when it comes to shows that I like. I think it needs to be more me and, Fletch as well, and hopefully I'll get on it and get Rum on the show again. But, I want it to be more like a real podcast where we're just talking to each other and not staring at a screen and explaining things. So, hopefully, I can figure that out, and I hope there are people watching who are interested. So, thank you very much. Again, check out the Metal Hand of God podcast. You can hear me and Fletch on the BSI Comics vodcast, also on a YouTube channel, but not on this one. And, I don't know. Keep it metal. That's why we love Disney. Whatever. Adios. I guess we're about done. You gotta get going. You gotta pack for Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're gonna try and make changes. We want it to be a little more old-fashioned on the show. When we first started it, one of my goals was to make it closer to M-Hog, and I realized it's not the talking about our dicks that really does that. Although that's fun. By the way, I'm having dick surgery.
It's about why we like talking about our dicks.
I'm not sure what that means, but yes.
It's not what we're saying, it's why we're saying it.
I think it's about the people involved. I don't think you come to us because you want Disney experts. I think you come to us because you like us, and hopefully you want to know more. And we're not just going to sit there and talk about it. All right, we'll talk about our dicks a little bit. Again, dick surgery. Pray for me. But we want to talk about Disney news, but we also want to talk about why we actually like Disney,
right?
And what kind of people we
Anybody
are.
can read articles and just recite them back to you,
Absolutely. So, with all that in mind, hope to see you in a few weeks, and I'll be posting some more archival editions from Radio DCP. I've been Adam.
I've been Fletch.
And I don't remember the sign-off for this.
That's why we love Disney.
Wink.